Hello my friends, I'm Duchess and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to teach you guys a new method for making sound effects in your webtoon. Let's get started. If you don't know me, I am a small webtoon artist of the webtoon The Unexpected Enchantress. The link is in the description, and I love experimenting with my webtoon and finding the best ways to make my drawing process more efficient. I've already made a video on sound effects, but I found a new way to make them that is neater and much easier. What I used to do was use the wrench button on the top left, click add text. My favorite text to use is Jack Armstrong because it looks like the font that most webtoon artists use, and I think it's just really easy to read and it looks pretty nice as well. I've started using font size 6.5. Something I've noticed about the font size on Procreate is that it changes once in a while. When I first started making my webtoon, the font size I used was 20, using the font Jack Armstrong, of course, but now I'm using 6.5, and so maybe the font size just gets smaller and smaller over time, or maybe I'm just doing something wrong. So then I'll write out the word, which is flip. This sound effect is usually for movements. In this scene, the character is turning her head to the side pretty swiftly, which is why I'm using the sound effect. For sounds in a webtoon, onomatopoeias, you don't really want to use actual words to describe the action. For example, if she's turning her head, right, you don't want to use turn as the sound effect because that's just a little weird, maybe. But yeah, so it's always better to find some sort of sound that fits the action. But if you can't, that's very understandable. I do think it's kind of hard to make up a sound that fits what the character is doing. So yeah, just try not to put words as much as possible. So after I write the sound, I'll shape the text the way that I want, usually using the warp tool. The shape of the text depends on the action and what's going on. Like sometimes it's curvy, sometimes it's like big, and then it's small, you know. I talk about this more in my previous video on sound effects, so definitely check out that for more information. Then I duplicate the layer and I adjust it so that there's a white outline or shadows. I just started using a different technique for making sound effects in a more convenient way, and here's how I do it. So that was the old version and this is the new version. So I add a text using Jack Armstrong font at size 6.5 as usual, and I write the word flip, right? Then I select italic bold in the style section and press this O button in the attributes section. This makes the word thicker and hollow on the inside. After that, I'll make small adjustments using the warp tool to make the sound effect more dynamic. I'm going to name this layer onomatopoeia so that I know that this layer has the text on it. Then I'll click on the onomatopoeia layer that has the text on it and select reference. Reference is great for filling in colors. It only works well if your line art is fully closed and there's no gaps or spaces, so if you have textured line art, it's probably not going to work. Since this text is completely solid, reference will work really well for it. I create another layer underneath this layer and I label it onomatopoeia color so that I don't get confused. Then I select the color white and color drop it into the words on this layer. You can see that it gets filled in even though there's actually nothing on it, and that's because I referenced the onomatopoeia layer with the text on it. So when I color drop onto this blank layer, it fills in what I'm referencing. If you look very closely, it's a bit messy, like the color gets a little bit on the outsides of the text, but when readers read it, it will probably not be visible because it's so small, and plus I'm kind of zoomed in right now so you can obviously see it and I'm trying to show you guys, but if you zoom out a little bit, you can't see it at all. So it's totally fine if you guys prefer the original method I used, but I personally prefer the second method. I think it's so much easier and it looks way cleaner. It's also a little bit different, but I think I've seen this kind of sound effect in more professional webtoons. I think there's a bunch of different methods that I don't even know of, but this one might be one of them. I'm not sure, but it looks great. I'm definitely going to start using this method from now on. Let me know down in the comments below which one you guys like more. This week's video was pretty short. I just wanted to share something new that I started doing, and last week's video was super long and time consuming. So I thought I'd do something lighter this week. That's all I have for you guys this week. If you guys enjoyed this week's video or learned something new, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get notified. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next week.